Hi guys, welcome to another How To Tuesdays. So in this short video, I'm just quickly going to be going over the animation function in Photoshop. So a lot of people don't know that you can actually animate in Photoshop. I did my whole student film in Photoshop, did all my keyframes. It's good to partner up with a different program such as After Effects and Premiere because you can export your frames as a JPEG sequence. But we're just going to have a little look at how you might want to use the animation function, where to find it, how it works very briefly, and how you can animate your drawings like this one. So you can go into so much depth with animation, it's a whole other subject, but if you just want to play around with it on Photoshop, I thought I'd just give you the basics just so that you can get started and yeah, just have some fun with it. So this is my setup. So here's my timeline. And on my timeline, I've got all of my keyframes. So your keyframes are a different drawing on each frame. So as you can see here, on each frame, the eyes are drawn differently. And each frame correlates to a layer, which is in your layer column as normal. So as you can see, as I'm going through, each layer contains a different drawing of the eyes, and when you put them all together they create movement. So it looks a little bit complicated, but it's not. It's just when you add a different layer onto the timeline, for some reason it adds it on top, and I wanted to recycle some of my layers so that she would close her eyes and I wouldn't have to redraw them. So it may look complicated, but it's not. So I've just turned off the background layer, and as you can see, all these layers here are literally just the eyes opening and closing. So this is what sits on top of your background layer. So the background layer is just my drawing that I imported into Photoshop as a JPEG, and I just literally rubbed out the eyes completely so that I could animate fresh eyes over the top. So in the timeline, the bottom frame runs along the whole timeline, and that's what has your image on, and that's what you animate on top of, if this makes sense. So you can see here the original image where I've rubbed out the eyes, and that is what's underneath all of the other layers. So as you can see, it's just animated on top, so it's super simple. So I'm just going to show you how you would actually export your video. So if, like I said, you've got After Effects, you can export as a PNG sequence or as a JPEG sequence. But for the purposes of this video, just keeping it nice and simple, we're just going to go down to render video at the bottom. And this will just render a video straight out of Photoshop that you will be able to see instantly once it's exported. So this menu will come up and you just save your video up here, you just rename it, and then you've got your settings down here. So H.264 is perfect. The document size, that's how big the video is going to be. So at the minute it's just going off my Photoshop file size, but you can pick whichever size you want, 1080p, 720p, whatever you're going to use it for. And I've clicked all frames to render because I want all the frames in my timeline to be rendered. So it's pretty straightforward. You can play around with it. Depends where you're rendering to, if you want it on YouTube, if you want on Instagram, if you want a high quality, low quality, you can just play around with that. It's not too complicated. And then you just click render and it will come up with a little export file. And once that's done, then your video is wherever you saved it and it's good to go. So let's just start from the beginning so I can just show you exactly how you get your timelines up. So I'm just gonna make a blank document, doesn't really matter which size. And to get your timeline up, you can see you go Windows, timeline needs to be checked. So we've just unchecked and checked it again so you can see the difference. And you want to go on the video timeline, not the animation one, which sounds a bit counterproductive, but it's the video one you want, not the animation one. So it's important not to draw on your white background, because that's the background that's going to have to run through the whole animation like we said before. So you're just going to animate on top of the background. So I've just added a new layer, and that's added my new key. I've dragged the background layer right across so that it's got something to animate over, as well as you're going to get just a transparent background and it'll render out black. So let's just do a ball. So you draw that, that's on your first frame. You add another layer, you get another keyframe. Move that to the side. You can just move it so it's slightly over the one underneath, and then you can see through it. So I'm drawing the next frame, moving it across. You can see it's like a squishing ball. So if you wanted to do someone throwing a ball onto the floor, it would squish when it hits the ground. So I've added another layer. We're going to draw the next keyframe and then move it to the side so each frame isn't overlapping. There is an onion skin setting on this, but I've never got it to work properly, so I just do it this way. It works just as good. So I hope you all have lots of fun playing around with this. Animate some of your drawings. Comment below if you've done it. Let me see. Send some links to your work. I'd love to see you guys do this in practice. And please comment, like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Every Tuesday I try and do these bite-sized tutorials. I try not to overload you with information. I just think of things that would be fun to learn, and you can go away and do some independent study and dive more into it if you wish. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon in another video.